Well, the overall economy, and in particular the aviation sector, recovery will depend critically on how our fight against COVID-19 is conducted. Because if COVID-19, I've mentioned that there are three possible scenarios for COVID-19. The first is that after we have a quick recovery, like what happened during H1N1, but I've been speaking to epidemiologists and infectious diseases experts, and they've given me their assessment that they think that this is unlikely. A second scenario which they painted to me is that the situation may be contained in some parts of the world. Not that there are no more transmission, there will still be, but it remains at a manageable level, and some activities can continue. And so with that, we have to live with a longer stretch of this outbreak, but then it is no longer as disruptive as it is today. And several experts think that that is a likely scenario, in which case activities can begin to resume in parts of the world in different pieces. But at the same time, we can see that what is happening in China. I mean, China took very decisive action very early on, and now China is beginning to resume some of its economic activities, and that is one good example. But on the other hand, countries at different parts of the world are now at different stretches of this outbreak, and they are now having to take fairly drastic measures, including lockdowns, including declaring national emergencies. So we may see a variegated pattern across the world, that some are coping better, some are managing the forefront of the crisis. So we don't know how this will play out, but that is one scenario that we have to work on. In which case, what we'll have to do is to start resuming some of the economic activities with locations which are better contained and for which some level of normalcy can continue. We'll have to deal with, for instance, between, say, air cargo and passenger cargo. Air cargo can continue to carry on, but passenger volume may still be lower for a start. So that's one scenario. And of course, the worst case scenario is that the pandemic becomes broader in different parts of the world, and that efforts to contain it overwhelms the healthcare system in many places, and in which case the economic recovery will be very difficult. So the aviation industry depends critically on the economic activities resuming. And what will happen is it depends very much on how quickly we are able to contain the pandemic. Therefore, you can see that all over the world, countries are putting first priority to protect lives. And that means controlling the outbreak. And I believe that this is the right priority for all of us. In fact, I'll go further that I hope that the world comes together to look for a good solution to this. So I know that vaccine development, for instance, is taking trials for this, or efforts to find a vaccine for this COVID-19 virus is taking place in different parts of the world. Our research scientists are in touch with many of them, and we're hoping to contribute to this effort. So that is the first priority. And at the same time, even while we are tackling that outbreak, we have to think about how we can minimize the damage to the economy. And in particular, to make sure that we can protect our workers, we can save as many jobs as possible, but make full use of this downtime to train, to reskill, to restructure. Well, actually, the measures that we have in the job support scheme, for example, support all workers in Singapore. Right? So the level of support ranges from 25% to 75%. And I would say that that is by itself quite a substantial level of support, together with also our other care and support package for households, for individuals, for families with children. Also, we have taken a number of measures to deal with school fees to university fees, loans, and so on. So I think those are important measures. I would like to assure Singaporeans that our first priority must be to keep ourselves healthy, keep our population healthy, focus on fighting this pandemic, right? Focus on fighting this virus outbreak. And if we are able to do that better, then I think jobs will resume. What I'm hoping to do is that companies, I've also given substantial support to companies in the area of cost, cash flow, and credit. So I hope that all our companies make the best use of this and retain their workers so that when the outbreak is contained, we can resume our activities and we can emerge stronger.